More likely than not, you've heard of Uzukee or Uzu, but for the small chance that you have never heard of him in your entire life, here's a basic introduction. Your Bizarre Adventure is a large community game on Roblox and is the largest JoJo game on Roblox. The owner of this game is Uzukee, a developer who is somewhat disliked in his community. The reason he's disliked, well, there's a lot of them, but the choices that he makes regarding YBA, his most popular game, are pretty bad. And I'm gonna go into that, but I'm also gonna go into Uzu as a person and how he deals with things just in general. YBA has been on the Roblox platform for a very long time, so naturally a lot of things have changed since the game released. One thing that has stayed consistent throughout YBA's lifespan though is its issue with monetization. The game is heavily monetized. Game passes have high prices, and in-game purchases have unreasonable prices, and pretty much everything that you could possibly think of to monetize in a JoJo game is monetized in YBA. Some of the things that are set at such a high price are almost mandatory, or others just give a very large advantage. None of this affects PvP though, but even if it doesn't affect PvP, it's still ridiculous. Item Notifier goes for 2,000 Robux, 20 real life dollars, and practically removes the difficulty from the game. The stand storage makes everything so much easier, but at least you get a free one. However, that's not the case with style storage, which is also decently expensive. Like, the average Roblox player is not buying that. And this is where Uzu comes in. Even though people have complained about prices for things in the game, they never change at all. And it's a common theme in YBA and Uzu's ownership. Things not changing for the most part. The community of YBA is ignored. Uzu rarely interacts with his own community. Sometimes he'll even go months without saying anything in general, or without saying anything in the Discord server at all. This is a bad thing for any developer ever. When you do this, you're creating a disconnect between yourself and the players of your game. Because they feel like you won't listen, they'll feel it isn't necessary to give you constructive criticism. And then this leads to the quality of your game going down, because let's be real, most of these developers aren't playing their own game, so they don't know what bugs or balance issues need to be fixed without the community telling them. Uzukee deciding not to listen to his community is what causes a lot of problems and why a lot of people dislike him. A majority of the talking is done by other people in the Discord who are at high ranks, like Paragon. But even Paragon says that he feels ignored and he feels like he has little power, and he's also kind of left in the dark in some of these situations because of how Uzu fails at communicating.
The game, a lot of the time it seems like he's left in the dark just as much as everyone else is. And as the community manager, that can't happen.
Uzukee also has a problem with his priorities. Well, I'm not sure if it's a priority issue or him just still ignoring his community, but what I mean by that is that bugs and exploits, which he literally knows about, will go unpatched for weeks, even if the dev team says they're working on it. YBA has a history of simple bugs that could have been patched early, lasting so long. An example, if you played YBA not even that long ago, prior to the update where it returns you to the lobby after getting in a broken server in ranked, you remember hopping servers over and over just to get a single 1v1 match. That was easily fixed, but why couldn't they have done that way earlier? The most recent example of this would probably be the problem with Tusk and how it's just You may say that this is an issue with the developers, but I completely blame it on Uzu because he's the owner. I mean, he tells the developers what to do. Drama isn't really rare with Uzu either. There's been so many times where he's gotten accused of shady things, and I don't necessarily think that he's done some of these things, but the problem doesn't lie there. The problem lies with the way that he responds to it. It's really bad. YBA has a community of mostly children. Realistically, none of those children are gonna sit down and read a 12-page document on why you're innocent. This leads to a majority of people hearing bad things about him and then instantly just believing them because they never listened to his side of the story. They don't care to go through a 12-page document. They're 12 years old. But besides that, some of Uzukee's responses to these situations aren't really verbalized well at all, and sometimes have logical errors. He'll say things in these documents without providing legitimate proof, and just like says it and thinks we're gonna take it as a fact because he said it. A lot of the things that he says in these documents could literally easily be posted in a announcements channel or an update log or even just a general with a screenshot tied to what he says, but instead he decides to put it in a very long document, which kind of complicates things and makes it a lot harder instead of just simplifying them. A perfect example of this: if you've been playing YBA for a long time, then you probably remember the situation with AUT and Kerr, which I'm gonna make a video on later, but basically Kerr had stolen multiple effects from YBA, and somehow, someway, people managed to shift the blame and then expose Uzukee instead. Now, Uzukee was innocent in this situation, but because of the way that he dealt with it, people didn't find this out for a long time. So you had videos on YouTube just bashing him for stealing things, when all of the things that are quote-unquote stolen are just actually from Toolbox.
So far, me and my friends, we have found that Hitshock, Lightning Drop, and Hitshock 2 are all stolen from 3 other people. Let me just open this back up. Black Particle, Ukiwoda, doesn't work at YBA. Images/Bolt 8, I Am St. Lucifer, doesn't work at YBA. Something by Xyrom, doesn't work at YBA.
Even though this was such a simple thing to disprove, like just saying, you know, I took them from the toolbox, it took a little bit longer than that to clear his name because of how he dealt with the situation.
In the video that I made last night, I called out a lot of YBA people that the effect they used is public use as in it is in Toolbox. So yes, we were at fault making the video. Well, I guess I was, because I'm not even going to hold any of my friends accountable to that.
I'm not sure if Uzukee knew about the situation or not, but like I said before, this could have been cleared up so easily on his part. Even after the situation, people were mad at Uzukee for how he dealt with it originally. He brought the entire situation, you know, public. He made the situation public, and people looked at it as he was trying to take down his #1 competitor instead of actually trying to stop the use of, you know, stolen effects. Now, is Uzukee a bad person? A lot of people don't like him, and I feel like I personally don't have a problem with Uzu, because you have to keep in mind his age, and even though a lot of people do use his age as an excuse for a lot of things, I don't necessarily think that his age is an excuse for not updating the game and ignoring the community, but the way that he handles some of these situations is the same way a lot of people would handle these situations who are also around his age, which is around 15, 16, 17, around that age range. But then again, on the other side of the argument, you have that Uzu is making so much money off of this, so there's no reason why he should have this many inconsistencies in his ownership. Me personally, I feel like the main reason why all of this is happening and the main reason why they don't care for YBA as much as they did before is because there's no competition. I mean, why would they put care and effort into a game knowing that it's gonna do just as well if they put no care and effort into the game? Because what are the players gonna do? Go to a different JoJo game? I mean, there's none on the platform right now, so let me know what you think. Is Uzukee a bad person, or is he just misunderstood?